Gathering 2023, also known as G14, if I got the right number right.
14.
And talking to Bob Terzuola. How you doing, sir?
Good to see you.
Very good to see you again. And you're looking quite well.
Thank you.
You always will and will do. So, about the collab with Dan, of Tracker Dan. Just give me a little insight as to what inspired this and what was the initial genesis of this collab night?
Well, I always admired his work. Dan's work generally tends to be a little bit more rough than mine, and he makes very competent using knives, and I've always liked some of his designs. And I thought we could do a good collaboration, especially since he lives only about 20 minutes from where I live.
Okay.
So that makes it very convenient.
Yeah.
So I approached him, and he was amenable to the idea. I said, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And then he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm not really sure what I want to do, but let's work something out.
Right.
So, as I'll mention this afternoon in the lottery, the challenge of doing a collaboration is to meld the essential signature elements of each knife maker and kind of put them together so that both are representative in the collaboration. And with Dan, one of his signatures are dark, distressed, using types of blades, and of course his wrapping. Japanese sword-type wraps and various kinds of rawhide wraps also. So the darkened blade, the distressing on the blade, it didn't create a problem. What did create a problem was, how do you wrap a folder?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I decided, first of all, we just do one side instead of wrapping all the way around.
Which would be a little counterintuitive to a folder.
So I made frame locks, and my basic essential element, signature element, is the ATCF. That's the knife I'm pretty much known for.
Yeah, your original folder.
Yeah. So the design is mine. And then, how do you do the wrap? I designed it so that it's like a bridge. There's a carbon fiber layer, 1 millimeter, and then at each end, there's a foot made of carbon fiber also, 2 millimeters. And that acted as a bridge, leaving a space in between for the wrap to go around.
Could we turn that on its edge a bit to, well, we really can't pick that up.
Yeah, I know.
Because of the wrap. Yeah.
It's really close.
Yeah, but you're explaining it beautifully. So
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on top of the carbon fiber, given the fact that this is a Japanese sword-type wrap, I also covered it with stingray. So we got the stingray and carbon fiber, and then the wrap that goes around. The wrap is Japanese silk. We got that from Japan. And we made 10 of them, and we're going to be auctioning off 6 this afternoon.
Auctioning 6?
Not auction, lottery.
The lottery.
Sorry, yeah.
So 6 will be lottery today?
And 4 have already been spoken for.
Okay, yeah, they've already been pre-sold, I would imagine. Yeah. Very good. And what was the sale price? Was it the
$2,000?
$2,000, and then of course the lottery price is also $2,000.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. And blade material on this?
CPM 154.
And I think that's what Dan uses. Is
yes.
that correct? Yeah, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Very good. Outstanding. So, have you enjoyed the weekend here in Las Vegas?
Very much so. Okay. I always do. I don't enjoy Las Vegas. I enjoy my friends in the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's something. Well, we've talked about that before, so we don't want to belabor that. Dan, or Bob rather. Sorry about that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Bob.
Well, I'll try and get it straight one of these days, right?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, and take good care. Travel well home. Okay.
Thank you.
Gathering 2023, also known as Gathering 14, if I'm not mistaken. And Dan, how you doing, brother?
Good, how are you?
Good. I know I said we were going to do the Boy Scout handshake, but I tricked you up there just to see if you're really paying attention. So listen, we're going to get into this collab with Bob, and a couple of other things. But just real quick, just a quick catch up. How long have you been making knives?
Seriously, since 2009.
Yeah, where they're being actually seriously made and sold, what have you. Yeah. And before that, you were just grinding a little bit here and there, right?
Yeah, I've played around since the 80s, modifying stuff, some forging, different things here and there. But,
started off with a popsicle stick on the sidewalk, right?
Yep. And mostly I was doing holstering systems because on the SEAL teams I learned what worked and what didn't.
Right. What falls out.
Yeah.
What will be there when you 3 hours later?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. So obviously Tracker Dan knives, something that's created its own tsunami, so to speak.
Yeah.
For opening day, a nice long line, et cetera, et cetera. Things that are helping to support the family very well. Do we still have the pup, the dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She's retired from the shows just because. She gets bored easy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I noticed that last year. So, let's talk about the collab with Bob.
Yeah. So Bob came up with just an ingenious idea of how to get a Japanese wrap onto a folder, and so I put my brain on it, and we figured it out together, and he had me do the grinds, and I tried to do a lot of this stuff, like he's done it in the past, to keep the tradition there.
Trying to match up his theme. If you will.
But he said I could do whatever I wanted. So some of them have like a Scandi grind and some other features. And of course, I try and shape the choils so nothing will snag. Because I'm against choils, but if you angle them forward a little bit, you're not going to worry about the blade being stripped out. So yeah, no, it was fun working with him, and I learned a lot.
Bob's a terribly beautiful man in so many ways.
Yeah.
But the way he shares is just phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
I mean, just a great guy.
Yep.
How many of these pieces were made?
10.
10? Okay,
Yes.
10, and we've got this one for the show, the lottery, so to speak. And what is our, just if you would, the materials, because I know you're a materials guy. It's one of the attractive, like I'm trying to pick you up, it's one of the attractive qualities about you, Dan. So what are the materials that we've got? You mentioned the race skin scales.
Yes, so the blade's 154 CPM, and I use that mainly just because it's good going in and out of the salt water, kind of thing. Not that I would take this in the in the ocean, but yeah, it's just.
Or on the streets of New York or LA, right? It's like, okay, that's a little too precious to possibly lose. Or,
Right.
Or completely damage and break.
Yeah, and as far as the other materials, like you'd have to ask Bob, but I know it's titanium, and he does this thing where there's metal in there for locking up onto the blade so the titanium doesn't drag and stuff like that.
Right.
So, and he marked the insides of the scales with, Tracker Dan and Terzuola on the other side. So
Homage to the collaboration, which is, and it's kind of tucked away. I like the fact that we really don't have, and you can flip that over on the other side. Yeah, we don't have any of the traditional markings. So at first glance, it looks sterile.
yeah.
Very good. What was I don't. If it's an inappropriate question, let me know. As you know, I'm not going to be offended. But what was the price on the other 9?
They're all going for
the same price. Okay, just not too sure.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And if you would turn it to the open side as well, I'm fascinated with how he was able to get that wrap, that cord wrap. I don't have my glasses, so
So there's a little bit of a gap, so you can.
So he was able to pass it all the way through. I mean, I would imagine that he'd have to.
Yeah.
And knowing Bob, that's what he would do.
Yep.
But, okay.
And when I put the wrap on, of course I had to clamp everything to get it so it stays nice and flat on the backside.
Right.
For the clearances and stuff, because the cord has some thickness to it. So, but yeah.
Very good. Now let's go ahead and talk about your fighting habits.
Okay. Yeah, this was something feedback from the field from some of the guys I know on Team 6. They'd been carrying some tomahawks that were just way too long point to point, way too thick, you know, just,
And they're covering a lot of distance, and you don't need a dive weight,
Right.
So it's meant for not getting glancing blows off of headshots and stuff like that. And anything that gets caught in here is going to be cut, ripped, torn, whatever. So whereas a lot of stuff will glide off a regular tomahawk, and a lot of tomahawks will cause blunt force trauma, but they won't penetrate. But with this tip, it just gets everything in. And then this spacing here is for spinal cord shots if you hook behind the neck and that kind of thing. So, and it's got this here. So,
And with the inside of that,
yeah,
an edge, I would say a temporary capture, because it's probably going to cut whatever you're capturing.
yeah, they were wanting to be able to move bodies and stuff, so hooking and dragging and flipping people over and stuff like that. So.
Go ahead, you were going to finish up. Sorry.
yeah, no worries. And a lot of machetes and tomahawks don't have this, and so if you swing and miss something, a lot of times it wants to flip out of your hand, but this locks in real nice. Or if you get wedged in something, you've got that way of breaking it free. So yeah, I really thought it through as much as I could. Not the best for throwing, because it's got this nice retention on it and stuff, but you can throw. You just gotta point when you throw. You don't follow through. So
Very good. Material on this?
I do pretty much everything 154 CPM, so I can go in and out of the ocean with it.
Yeah.
It'll get a little surface rust, and this has got rattlesnake blood on it and stuff, because Kelly, this is my wife's, and she uses it for everything, so very good.
And of course, ray skin.
Yeah, this was a ray I shot down in Panama. And so,
Very good. What is price point on this piece if someone wanted to order one?
The standard version is going to be $1,300, and there's longer handles,
In other words, you can tweak it a bit for the end user.
Yeah, and there's thicker versions, a little beefier and stuff like that. So.
Okay, very good. Anything else you'd like to mention or chat about?
Not that I can think of. I wish Kelly was here, because she.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. No worries. We'll pop that smokehouse a little bit later on. Inside story, right?
Awesome.
So now we come back with the Boy Scout shake, right? Yeah, okay. Thank you, brother. You travel well.